The world without art would be bland. Just imagine a world lacking individuality. It sounds really boring. All I can think of when I imagine a world like this is Lois Lowry's The Giver, a utopian society devoid of individuality. Art gives birth to character and personality, and another form of art, music, has helped me and a lot of people I know through the dark time. As you can probably imagine, the arts are pretty expensive to fund. So how do small organizations and nonprofits get money to do these activities? This is where the star of our show comes in, the National Endowment for the Arts.
The National Endowment for the Arts is roughly $148 million, as is the National Endowment for the Humanities. That is, at this level this year, it was as high as $176 million back around 1992. And that money comes in, let's say the National Endowment for the Arts, from the federal government, and then is distributed through first 40% of the money going out to the states all across the country, where they match that with some $400 million and then distribute it through grants.
This organization is very popular with the more liberal crowd, which causes it to clash with the ideals of conservatives who want to cut the budget as much as possible. In recent years, the Trump administration has been trying to completely cut the National Endowment for the Arts so students won't have the opportunity to develop and hone in these skills.
I mean, look, there are lots of ways to fund economic development, but you can't tell me this is the most efficient way. But more to the point, I don't understand why, if rich people in this country like the arts, and they do, and I'm glad that they do, then why wouldn't
you're
they
telling me that middle-class people don't like the arts, and the arts don't serve poor people and underserved people? It doesn't serve the military?
There are people who like art who are not rich. I'll concede that. My only point is, when you've got people running around with fortunes of 40, 50, 60 billion dollars, why not ask them to pay for public art?
Famous singer and songwriter John Legend had this to say.
I think music is such a powerful way to help bring that message. Not only do we speak about poverty, but also sing, and we give them a nice little show. So I think those kind of things illustrate the power of music beyond just music, beyond just entertainment, to help make change around the world.
The arts act as a catalyst. They are meant to help develop and grow students not only into model citizens, but also to help students grow into critical thinkers and creative people. They don't always grow up to be artists. They go to do many things.
By cutting funding, you are really limiting intellectual growth, intellectual diversity, and really funneling people toward certain professions. One of the issues that I have is this focus on STEM. I certainly believe that this is all connected. The more that we focus on STEM, science and technology, engineering and math, we really don't take a look at the importance of the arts. And the arts is important because the arts not only tell us who we are, but also tells us and allows us to express who we might become.
And you may argue, well, if they aren't going to become professional artists, musicians, dancers, etc., then what was the point? And I fully understand where you're coming from when you say this. Why do all this just for it to amount to nothing? Honestly, that's a very linear way of thinking. It's meant to develop you as a person, making you dig deeper and think critically and creatively. But people don't like to dig deeper. Lucky for us here in Virginia, we have constant artistic influence. Heck, I could go outside my house and find a mural painted on the side of a strange facility. The locals had this to say.
I would say that the arts prevalence in Alexandria really rests upon the audience that you're asking. I think that there's definitely a lot in this city that exists in a form that's more subliminal. Like, we have art murals in Del Rey when you walk around, and in the West End, it's more so in the architecture and design.
The arts are prevalent in Alexandria. Well, I think considering that we're in a major metropolitan area with DC, there's just going to be a lot of people from various backgrounds, and that leads to a lot more diversity in the art that we produce. You know, you have the Torpedo Factory, that's obviously a historic institution that's now has its own history of including artist space there, and then you also have lots of events in Del Rey, you have on Avenue, there's all these different outlets that artists can express themselves.
A young man by the name of Emmanuel Okanlawan, or as most people would know him by, Young Manny, has been blowing up on TikTok recently with his track, You Can't Stop the Rain. But you may also know him from his tracks Moana and All My Guys, They Are Ballers. Young Manny grew up in Bowie, Maryland, an area with heavy arts influence. It even has its own arts integration learning plan. Young Manny said while he wasn't fully devoted to the music due to the school, he would set aside 20 to 30% of his time to focus on music. Along with juggling piano practice and worship, and thanks to his hard work, he managed to graduate at 16. His school, which encouraged the arts along with the people around him who supported him and his craft, helped get him to where he is today. Even with all these positives, there are negatives to giving so much money to the arts. And whilst our nation deals with many issues such as healthcare, public education, infrastructure, and many others, by funding the arts, we build more capable next generation who could later solve these issues. In fact, people go on to make careers out of arts, continue to give back to community, such as Akon, a singer and songwriter who provides electricity to areas in the United States along with Africa, and Chadwick Boseman, an actor who donated $4.2 million worth of PPE equipment to hospitals. Boseman also returned to his college to give an inspirational speech for graduating students. There are more than just these two individuals, and if we continue to fund the arts, we will see more individuals like these two giving back to the community, making the world a better place. Thank you for your time.